Hey Skyfarers, and welcome to Aethercast, the Kharadron Overlords channel and podcast, where we've got a lot to talk about. Because finally, the Battlescroll is here. There's points changes, there's all sorts of stuff, and we're also going to talk about allies. Lots to talk about, but we've got a good crew to talk about everything today because we've got the band back together. The boys are back in town. We have our Celestant Prime, our Duarden Prime, Duarden Max.
Hello, good to be back.
It's been so long, I can't even get your name properly. Like, okay. But I can get this one correct. We have our Thunderer from Down Under, Mr. Alexander Krohn.
Hello. Likewise. Excited about the change. Well, not really excited about the change, but excited about allies.
Yes. Yes. So I guess most people have seen the changes already, and they know that they are mostly disappointing for KO. But we're going to talk about some stuff, and yeah, we're it's not all doom and gloom. Is the takeaway probably?
Mm.
Do you agree?
This is fine.
Let's go through it.
Okay,
This is fine.
It is doomy and it's
This
gloomy.
is fine. Yeah. What's
Yes.
the meme of the dog? This is fine.
Yeah, this is fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Cool. So before we talk about points, let's just talk about some of the major changes that have happened, just generally. There's a new battle tactic where you pick an objective that your opponent controls, and then you have to have a hero with a Nulstone Adornment contesting that objective at the end of the turn. And as far as I can tell, you don't need to control that objective.
Yeah. Good. Easy battle tactics is what we needed.
The only thing that's slightly difficult for KO is you do need to get the hero out of the boat. But there's ways to do that.
I mean, it's pretty easy. Put him in the boat, move the boat, spend a command point, get him out of the boat.
Yeah.
He just stands there, stands on the objective, waves at the enemy, and goes, "Hey, battle tactic."
Yeah.
Hey, I'm here, and I brought my Thunderer friends.
Yeah, the fact that you don't need to take control of it, which means if you're trying to take an objective and not sure you're going to manage to get it, I mean, you might as well pick this battle tactic. It's pretty handy.
Yeah, it's another one. I think the most difficult thing about this is it needs to be an objective controlled by your opponent.
Mm-hmm.
So you cannot just put him on any objective.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No.
Cool. Another option.
Yeah. It's good. And the nice thing about it is it's kind of what you're trying to do anyway. Whereas sometimes battle tactics are like, okay, well, I want to go and take that objective, but I also need to try and do this. I need to do something else, which involves going somewhere else. So
yeah. No, it's cool. It's a battle tactic for basically Khorne, KO, fire players.
Yeah.
Some Skaven armies. Yeah.
And
anyone who doesn't bring wizards.
My chair is doing the thing where it sinks. It didn't do it all last show.
you gained some weight.
Yeah, obviously it's all the chocolates from Valentine's Day. So all of my admirers that watch the show that sent everything in. No, there is nothing from anyone that watches the show. Because they know that my wife would come and kill them. Cool. The next thing is that fighting things that like trigger when you fight when you're slain doesn't trigger when models flee anymore. With a little typo there.
We found a typo.
Is that really?
Okay.
That's big for Fight on Death.
Fight on Death, Squeak Herd.
Yeah.
That's good.
Fire Slayers, it kind of doesn't affect KO.
But Fire Slayers fighting when fleeing. Yeah.
It's just
okay.
All guys. But there's a thing that happened. The next big thing that happened is the Wizard Finders of Andor Battalion now gets a 5+ spell / endless spell ignore.
Yep, that's
that
cool.
Battalion's a bit better.
It's a bit better, and basically it's an option to give a hero a 5+ spell ignore and 2 units and a behemoth, a boat. Maybe makes the Seraphim match up a bit easier.
Yeah.
Cool.
Also, that makes the Seraphon matchup a bit easier. Bodyguards now count as wards for the most part.
Yes. There were some bodyguards that already counted as wards.
Yes.
Like the Stormcast, don't me ask me what they're called, protectors thing. Because there was the option that the wound got negated on a certain roll, so it was a ward.
Yes.
But for others it wasn't. Now it's just if there's a bodyguard, it's a ward. And that's
pretty much basically. Which means Croak is a lot easier to kill. Because obviously you can't use more than one ward as well, so it means that you can't ward it onto a unit and then they try and ward the wound and stuff like that, or all these sorts of shenanigans.
True. All these uncertain things, like I ward off to my zombies, but can they get a ward? And blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
That's all been sorted out as well, which is good.
Cool.
And it makes a lot of things easier to kill if you are able to remove wards. Which KO can do with burst grenades. So burst grenade stonks are up. It also means that some of these things, there are some things in the game that can get bonuses to ward rolls, and so they now affect bodyguard rolls as well.
Ooh, interesting.
I'm not thinking of any examples of
them. On wards, yeah.
So I know, like Nagash gives gives a straight 5 award to death units, but there is a command trait in Soul Blight that improves the ward roll by 1.
Pretty sure there was some way to get Lindo.
I'm not sure if it also would then improve a bodyguard roll. Not sure.
Well, a bodyguard roll now counts as a ward, so in theory it does.
So the Necromancer would ward on a 2+.
Yeah. Okay. Maybe a nice, delicious, unintended consequence there. But oh well. Everyone's favourite army to play against Cities of Sigmar had some changes. Fusiliers now don't get the mortal wounds from their shooting because they changed the ability that buffs them. Command Corps can't pick the same unit to heal multiple times now because there's a general FAQ that basically says whenever you can pick, say, D3 units or 4 units or whatever, you can't pick the same unit more than once. Which is completely opposite in FAQ that we previously had. But it's good. And they actually addressed that and said, yes, we've gone the opposite way on this in the designer's commentary as well. Which is
I've heard a story so that they're saying the main designer basically was at the LVO and was looking at the cities versus cities finale, and you could just see the look on his face of like, oh, we fucked up. Oh, this isn't good. Nah, none of it. So it's like 3 separate nerfs essentially for cities, and specifically like a steam tank cities army now. One of them is like there's no mortal wounds, and then the tanks went up, and then I think there was another nerf as well. It's just like not that.
They went up.
Never again.
Yeah. Yep. You still can though stack command corps. So you have 2 runs at doing the deny command ability.
No, they changed that as well.
Did they?
Yes.
Sure.
I think they changed something about it. Yeah, I think you can only do it once now.
Okay.
I'm sure there was something about that.
Yeah, they clarified you cannot try twice for the same command.
Oh, okay, that was it.
Like, I want to fly high. I rolled a 3. You get it. Oh, wait, I have a second command corps. I'll try again. No. That's not allowed. Yeah. Which already a bit.
Yeah.
Fishy. But you still got 2.
Yeah. True. Yeah, that was what it was. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
They also
end up in points. So
yeah. Which they also said changed it now so you can't stack spell ignores as before you could, which is good especially now since they added a spell ignore to a battalion. It was a good time to do that change.
Yeah, I remember the days where you could stack wards.
Yeah.
So that's good. Yep.
Yeah, so that's okay. Korn got a thing that basically said when a friendly unit casts a spell on a 5+, it doesn't go off. So basically, it's to try and stop them taking wizards. because they were taking wizards.
Yes, so the Bellacore, magical dominance battle tactic with Bellacore, or the Regiment of Renown, the Zinch one. They changed that one, the wording. Now they don't automatically cast the endless spells, but you just set up the endless spell. So it doesn't count towards magical dominance. It's still good, but
Sloppity Bar Piper lost his thing, just stop enemy units piling in. Got changed to like a -1 to hit or something.
-1 to hit, and the entirety of Nurgle players lost their mind and faith in the army. And basically it's trash, and you can, if you want to buy a Nurgle army, it's very cheap on eBay now. From what I hear. It's the end of the world. It's the end of the world. The whole army only worked on sloppity pilots.
Only worked on one really niche thing.
Ability.
No, it was very strong. It made matchups. They told me it made matchups very good for them against melee. And now they're very hard. Yeah. If it's the end of the world, I don't know, but it took away one nice tool they had. Definitely.
Yeah. Cool. Another thing that got changed is not just sharks, but the ability in Fufan basically changed. So instead of doing mortal wounds on 6s,
they never did mortal wounds. They had exploding.
Exploded. Oh wait, it now auto wounds basically. It was exploding, wasn't it?
So mathematically, I don't know how much difference it does, but
it's a little bit worse in things,
a little bit less. Yeah,
because you, instead of rolling 2 dice to wound, you're just depending what you wound on. If you wound on like 2
wound on freeze usually.
Yeah. So statistically, 2 dice wound on freeze is better than just 1 automatically wounding.
It's a slight nerf, I think.
Yeah,
it's fine. I'm not sure if they went up in points.
I can't remember.
I'm not sure.
There was a lot of points changes. And a whole bunch of stuff got 2-inch range, and then some other stuff got some other.
Yeah, basically all the stuff that used to have the Galician Veterans Battalion now has 2-inch reach. So Volkite Berserkers stonks up a lot.
All the combat,
the ghosts, a lot of ghosts like Harridans and all the 32mm combat units, basically.
They needed
which is it's good because currency was very annoying. Yeah, it's a good change. Yeah. Great.
And there's a bunch of other stats changes, like something's got extra wounds and stuff, but nothing that really is.
Is there? Okay.
Yeah, there was some Seraphon things. Coxagores went from 4 wounds to 5 or something.
Yes, Coxagores are better.
There were some other basic weapons changed to damage and stuff, but it's interesting to see that they are doing that and realizing the problems with war scrolls and then changing them.
At least a few of them,
which previously they'd not done that sort of thing. So that's cool to see. But they haven't done anything with care. So, and mostly it was.
Our Thunderers are still 1-inch range, but
barely Thunderers.
Yeah,
I mean the Parrot is 3-inch, so
yeah.
And the mortal wounds is
the Flamers are still whatever
3 inches.
Yeah. So cool. Points changes then. So I mean, most people have seen these already, but mostly that's red. +10 pretty much on everything except for a load of heroes and Arcanauts and the Ironclad. So I mean, in some ways it's easy to say what didn't get a points increase, which is the Code Right, Brock Grunson, Trekkie Flint, the Dirigible Suit, and the Endramaster on foot. Phoenix Profiteers, Arcanaut Company, and Ironclads. Everything else went up 10.
Ironclads went down.
Ironclads went down 20 points.
Which
is about the only thing that got predicted correctly. Oh no! Oh, an ending
Thunderous +10 was also predicted.
The Reddit, the 4chan leaks were very wrong.
Completely wrong. Yeah.
Because I could have lived with that. Yes, a lot of points, a lot of red.
But it's so general, like none of it's not a targeted points increase. They don't know what was making KO have that 56% win rate. They just said whole army's up by 10 points. Sure,
Yes,
Yeah,
they didn't
basically, we
realise
look
it was
at
battle tactics.
the top 80% of what people used. Okay,
Mhm.
up by 10 points.
What do
Yeah.
people use? The whole book. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it is. Yeah, people use frigates. People use gun haulers. Looking at you, Alex. Sky Wardens, Energigas, Thunders. I mean, yeah, those are the units in the book. What do you expect us to use?
Yeah.
We cannot
If you want
run
us
an army
to
of
use
code
more
right.
units, if you want us to use more units, you should give us more units, Games Workshop.
Yeah.
So, okay, it was a bit broad. It's like Sky Wardens plus 10. I don't understand. They're perfectly fine. I mean, it still remains the question: why are Ender and Rigas cheaper than Sky Wardens?
Because Sky Wardens in theory have better melee because they have more attacks.
Yeah, and they're better in Zon. Okay, but still,
the shooting.
They're the same in Zon because they both get +1 to hit and wound.
Yeah, but they're battle line. So.
Oh yeah, they're battle line. Yeah.
Thunderers up another 10.
Which is a shame because we're still gonna have to use them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
well,
that's the thing. Like whatever list you were using, it's not just that one thing that went up by 20 points, but because you're using all those heroes on all those units and those boats, everything went up by 80 to 100 points, 150 sometimes. It's a lot, but there's a simple solution.
Yes.
Everyone just cut 10 Arcanauts.
Lose 10 Arcanauts.
Lose 10 Arcanauts and use the same units as before.
Yeah, or possibly you take out a hero, depending on the list.
Or change an Admiral to a Engine Master.
Yeah.
Like
we've
save
just got to
there.
cut some fat, tighten the belt a little.
And play basically the same
costs
list.
all over.
Yeah.
It's a bit weird. It's weird because if people were playing 15 Thunderers, okay, plus 30, but then you were putting them in an Ironclad, so minus 20, so plus 10. That's not going to change the list. Okay, Admiral Navigator Chemist, that's another 30. So plus 40 points on that list. Okay.
Yeah, sure. the one I get the least is probably the Gun Hauler because as far as I could tell, most people, if they were running a Gun Hauler, were running one.
Who'd run more than one?
Yeah.
But you went 3-2 quad. It's not like you went 5-0 and they're like, oh, that's broken as hell.
Yeah. I went 2-3.
Yeah. So it wasn't like it was a broken list.
It was a fun list.
Like the regiments of the Army of Renown was causing problems or anything, was it? So
no.
The Gun Hauler going up it seemed a bit strange.
Already at the 170, I thought it was a bit much, but 180. It was just a plain everywhere. Everything goes up by 10 points.
Yeah. Just the whole army up 10 points. That'll stop it. That'll bring it down that 1 or 2%.
I mean, and there's other strange things. Is there are some things that probably could have gone up more than 10 points, like a frigate. You know, they could have easily gone to 320 or something, and people still be using it.
Yeah, because it's good at 300.
Yeah.
I don't know. So what are the takeaways here? The good things is Brock. You get more shooting per points here with Brock because he didn't go up. Same with
the thing is with Brock is when he now buffs Engine Riggers and Sky Wardens, in theory he's buffing more points.
Yeah, he's buffing a bigger proportion of your army.
Yes, he's more points efficient, and your boats are carrying more points worth of troops and heroes.
Everything got more efficient.
Well, except for the actual units. Arcanauts Company, your main battle line, not going up in points, and they are cheap at 90 points. Especially when you look at the rest of the army now.
For 90 points,
you get 20 Arcanauts for 5. Almost 5 Thunderers is almost 20 Arcanauts.
Yeah. When you consider
that Hauler is 20 Arcanauts.
3 Sky Wardens is 140 points for 6 wounds, and then Arcanauts are
that is my 90 main
points
problem.
for 10 wounds. Then
6 wounds for 140 points. 6 wounds on a 4-up save.
Yeah. But I mean that's KO. It's always been relatively fragile.
That's what made Thunderers appealing, because they can actually sit there and hold their own.
Yeah,
They can
and
tank it,
the
but
boats
at
are generally
300,
this
340 points for 10 models. That's a lot. That's more than a prime.
Okay, so some not hot takes, but some takeaway things is Endrinriggers are still better than Sky Wardens.
Yes,
absolutely.
in my opinion.
Thunderers are still good because everything else went up in points as well. So Thunderers and Endrinriggers are still kind of good. Frigates.
Thunderers, the output for their points is still okay.
Yeah. Frigates versus Ironclads. What do you think there? Because one went up, one went down.
It depends what you're trying to achieve.
Yeah.
An Ironclad going down 20 is good, but it is you take an Ironclad if you want to move model Thunderers, basically.
Yeah.
If you want to move 10, then you can take a frigate. And frigates are good because they open that play of get on the objective, do mortal wounds, fight first, get people into combat. So 310 is fine for a frigate, I think. It's fair. In my opinion. Yeah.
I guess you could try and use an Ironclad to ferry around Arkanauts, but
yeah, sure, you can do that. You can do the same. You can use a gun hauler to ferry around Endrinriggers. It's just you're not getting out and fighting first.
Yeah. The trouble with ferrying Arkanauts around is the Arkanauts are so cheap, and then the Ironclad is so expensive. You pay so many points to transport around so little, but
and you have to get within 9 every time because the Arkanauts just don't have range.
Yeah.
So I didn't do it, but I want to make a comparison of damage output per points cost. I wonder if the Ironclad got better, because it is one of the things that can make a dent.
Yeah, it's pretty killy on its own.
Thunderers. So I wonder if an Ironclad just on its own or just 10 Thunderers inside is.
We should make one of those damage spreadsheets again.
Yeah, is it worth it? Points wise.
I mean, we have the spreadsheets. All you have to do is just update the points, and then it's done. I meant to do it. Cool. So, generally speaking, we think most lists are going to play similar to how they were.
If you look at the list that we have discussed in the past, I think everywhere you can either swap out a hero or remove 10 Arkanauts and be fine. For example, Nathan's list from CanCon, you can cut 10 Arkanauts to have a unit of 10 and one of 20. They still can do the contest as counted 2 on objectives. And it's a 90-70 lists or 1940 list even. You get a better triumph, something like that. And it does the same as before.
Yeah. Same as Luca's list. He had 3 units of Arkanauts and the Endrinriggers' battle line. Now he's got 2 units of Arkanauts and the Endrinriggers' battle line. It's cool.
So that's what I don't understand with this change. Like, you up everything by 10 points. People can cut out 10 Arkanauts. The army will still do the same.
We just need to be more careful.
What have you achieved? What have you achieved?
Yeah, I guess it means you've got one less screen, one less unit, and maybe earlier on in the game that means that.
Oh, yeah, sure.
You can drop behind on points.
Okay. Oh, I don't have the flagship command point because I'm using an Endrinmaster.
Yeah, or it means that you don't have that extra unit of Arkanauts that you can deploy on the other side of the board, and they can run there and just help you do surround and destroy or something.
Yeah. Then I just put my hero with a Nulstone Adornment on an objective.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So I'm not quite sure what the plan behind this was.
Yeah. I don't think. And then when you see that other things got slightly nerfed as well, like Seraphon, and then you wonder.
Yeah, I wish they would have done okay, you're trying to punish units that get used a lot. Well, then incentivize me to use a code right. Give him something that makes him more valuable.
Mm.
You know, I understand Breaky Flit and Fundrake because they're like narrative things. War Scrolls, they're not gonna dabble with those, but like the Cold Right, it's your newest model. Then okay, change some ability of his.
Yeah, I mean his ability is
make him steal command points. I found a rule that you cannot do this. Something like that.
Yeah, I mean his abilities aren't actually that bad. They're unreliable for a start.
If you want to change the amendment,
yeah. I mean, in theory, you can do his heroic action before you pick a battle tactic, which is kind of useful.
Yeah.
Maybe if you made that ability not a heroic action, so you could do it as well as a heroic action, that would make him a little bit more viable without going silly with him.
I mean, what you want to do with him is, I think the main thing is changing the footnote because it's pretty safe. It's on a 2-up. You want to use the 3d6 charge, and then change to the double command, which is basically fly high and exit.
Yeah.
Which means in your list,
take away the thing that stops you doing a footnote more than once. Just take that out, and then you say, "Oh, you can 3d6 charge twice." Then, if you have him, if you manage to get the roll, that's an incentive to take him, isn't it?
But so what I meant to finish my train of thought is in your army you want to have both. You want to have a ship with thunders inside, and you want a frigate with engine riggers to charge. But now with the points changes, this gets even more difficult to fit everything in a list. So there's even less reason to take it. That's the whole, like, the list building gets so complicated now with these points changes. All of these lists I wrote yesterday, they came to 1940 points, which seems a waste. You don't have a 60-point unit anywhere.
It does seem that you can easily end up at
even Aether Wings is 70 points.
I think I wrote one that was
70 points. Doomseekers are 70 points.
And I was like,
no endless spells.
Again, I feel like they don't know what they had to do to, like, how KO worked to make them lose some win percentage, because I think, like, this comes from 56. This comes from us being 56% win rate and the highest win rate of any AOS army right now. So they wanted to bring us down, but had no idea how to do it. Yeah, it should have been.
Yeah, they couldn't look at it and go, okay, well, the problem is this one unit or this one ability. So
hit the battle tactics. Make, getting in the boat, getting out of the boat a lot harder. Make those non-viable, kind of. So we have to use book tactics more, and that's how you tank the win percentage, like take down the win percentage a little bit by just by not giving us these auto battle tactics that we just do. Leave the points alone.
I wonder what happens to battle tactics in the 4th edition. If we keep the concept or if they just go away.
I like the 40k draw 2 cards kind of deal they have.
There's a weird thing with them that they printed them in loads of books now. So
I mean they had War Scroll battalions in books. And then they said, these you cannot use these anymore in match play.
Yeah, but they had a plan to get like new battle tomes for like loads of like everything got a new battle tome very quickly. So unless they do that,
I mean, except Flesh Eater.
So
4th edition might do this. Might go. Everyone nicks the battle tomes and indexes for a little bit. That might happen.
Yeah, I mean,
we'll see. They're trying to sell us books.
My personal feeling on battle tactics is the way to go is you do them over the course of a round, not the course of a turn. And then instantly every battle tactic becomes more interactive because like both people get a turn to do something. So like surround and destroy. It's like, okay, well, you've moved that unit over there. I'm going to just go and kill that unit.
So it gives you a turn to react to. Whatever you
want. And in theory, and then it also plays with the double turn and stuff like that.
Going second is a lot better because it means you can basically have your turn and then immediately you score your battle tactic. Whereas the person going first would have to sit on it for a turn.
Interesting, Interesting concept.
One last thing before we move on. potentially Thunderix Profiteers are better now, because already they were like a clutch thing. You can get a cheap hero and a unit. Now now it's even comparatively even cheaper.
Yes.
And if you're losing Arcanauts out of a list and you want another screen and don't want to lose,
true, that 9 wound unit is now what?
Well, Chemist is 110.
Yes, it's 50 points.
Thundrick doesn't give the rend.
Wounds.
Yeah, but Thundrick is not a real chemist because he doesn't give the rend.
Doesn't give the +1 rend, yeah.
So maybe he's like a 90-point hero.
Yeah, and it's not like you can give him a Nulstone or Dormant. So
yeah. I mean, he has a nice toxic gas attack.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Let's talk about some allies then. Potential things, because KO stuff's so expensive. Maybe you can get cheaper stuff elsewhere.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So, first one to talk about, if I can wake up my mouse, is the Knight Incantor.
Oh, an all-time favorite.
A goodie. A classic. So,
definitely a classic.
I haven't put the points on, but a Knight Incantor is 110.
I think you went up 120.
Should we check?
I think you went up a few points. The update is updated.
It should be on the list. Go to the next slide. It should be on the list.
I don't think it's not on the list because I don't put the points on the lists. What have you looked?
19 counter is 120 points these days.
Okay, 120.
So he went up 10.
It's more points than a navigator, less than an admiral.
10 points more.
But he's a wizard, so he opens up a battle tactic because you can do magical dominance. But he closes off a battle tactic
and a magical mayhem with arcane bolt.
Yeah,
maybe.
Maybe. But he closes off the Nulstone Dormant one.
Yes.
But I think magical dominance overall is easier to do than the Nulstone Dormant one.
Just Mystic Shield.
Put him in there.
Ironclad. Done.
Put him in the back of the corner of the field.
Yeah.
He closes off Nulstone Dormant overall, but he gives you an unbind, which is always good.
He gives you an auto unbind
and an auto unbind once per game.
Yes,
he is a Voidstone Orb.
He is a Voidstone Orb, which opens a slot for something else.
He's not just a Voidstone Orb. You think about it, he's also essentially a Voidstone Orb and an Arcane Tome. So it's like getting 2 for 120 points.
And he's an Andorian Locust, so on some battle plans, he will score you extra points.
So yes, that's a good point. I didn't think of that. And his spell, it's not that bad. It's a -1 to charge aura that's 18 inches. That's not bad. I mean, it is
90% of the time we will do a Mystic Shield, but yes.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, being an ally, you can't give him any spells, so you can't have a sneaky blizzard.
No, that's my beef with the whole GHP. That there's no access to those spells for KO or Fireslayers.
And if it was literally just that everyone knows these spells, it would in some ways be. I mean, it would be much better for Magical Arms because then they don't have to pick the spells, but instead of picking another spell.
But I think the biggest thing with him is he is an auto unbind. If you want two, you could have 2 auto unbinds. If you face all of.
I can't remember number 1. And my mouse froze. There we go.
Yeah,
that's
artistic. Always a solid. He's a 5 wound hero on a 3-up save.
Yeah.
Yes. Move 5 inches.
I think the main thing as well is you can just shove a Knight Incantor into a lot of lists and it doesn't fundamentally change the list.
Does he still get to smash his little vials and do mortal wounds to people?
No, they don't have the suicide vest anymore. No, they lost that, sadly.
Yeah. Cool. So let's look at a list example that we have here. Oh, yeah, there we go. So this list example is Battlescroll. It's 1970 points, 1 drop. So it has an Admiral, a Knight Incantor. The Admiral has the Burst Grenade and the X-Grunstock command trait, which basically 2 things you probably wouldn't have if you had a Navigator, because then you'd want the Voidstone Orb instead of the Burst Grenade, and you'd probably then be taking Stormcaller. 10 Thunderers, 20 Arcanauts, a Gun Horner with the compartments, 2 units of 6 Enderriggers, and an Ironclad, all in battle regiment.
So you
and
can put the
extra stock
Thunderers-
because you want the battle line.
Yeah.
Although, in theory, you could just make the Arcanauts 2 units of 10, and then you wouldn't need extra stock.
Mhm.
Yeah. But I like.
You could take a Scholar and Arcanaut as well. That would be good. It's good. So you could have 2 footnotes.
2 CP.
Yeah, in this list, yes, because you could do the
36 charge.
fly and deploy, and then the 3d6 charge.
Yeah.
There's option. That's a nice thing that if you don't need to bring a navigator for auto unbinds, it opens up a lot of the other stuff, which is good. It's good stuff in the book. Good command traits, good artifacts, but we always tend to move to the 1.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it would also open up spell in a bottle as well. If you took a chemist, obviously.
But what spell?
I don't know. But it's actually like you get an endless spell for free, which everyone else has to pay points for. So
it's an endless spell for free that then turns around next turn and flies towards your boat. Because it's wild.
Yeah. That's the main thing. Is what could you take that you don't normally get to take because you're not taking.
Yeah, since they took Blizzard, the warp lightning vortex, it's just not fun.
Phosphex, Phosphex bombs, roll those 2s.
Yeah, you could bomblets.
Yeah,
is a good option. You could give the Admiral the mag bolas. They're not bad. You have to pick a monster and have to charge. Or no, they only charge with a 1d6. The timing's a bit weird, but basically what it means, if you redeploy more than 3 inches, they cannot charge you.
Yes, and the mag bollers would actually synergize nicely with the Night Incantors -1 to charge spell as well.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So 1d6 and -1. So the maximum charge is 5
go
inches.
near a monster, shoot it. If you don't kill it, you're safe for another turn, more or less.
I mean, basically, like even a 3-inch charge then is fairly risky. 1d6 -1.
Yeah, but
on
they move 3 inches. Then you redeploy.
Yeah.
So you're 4+ inches away.
Yeah.
And then they have a 1d6 charge -1 if the guy is near to do the aura. So yeah, you need a 5 or a 6.
Yeah, the aura's not small. It's
and if you roll
18
a
inches.
free up, if you roll a free up on the redeploy, then they cannot charge you.
Yeah,
it's just within 8 inches, isn't it? Within 18 inches, isn't it?
Yeah, because it's enemy
yeah.
units, so it's always just within rather than holo in. For when it's enemy units, so
yep,
that's cool.
I was looking at that because I recall the so-called "fuck you" stuff from the old book.
Yes,
and that thing it's not that bad, to be honest. It's if you have an extra artifact slot, it's something you can consider. Yeah.
Cool. So let's look at another option. I just realised I forgot to put one into the show. But cool. So the next one is a Lord Ordinator. We talked about this a little bit last week with Krohn. Gets a +1 to hit aura for order war machines.
So only within 9 inches.
You put lots of boats within 9 inches of him, and they will get +1 to hit. He does also, on his hammer, 6s to hit to 2 mortal wounds, which is not bad. And he's quite cheap, but you do kind of have to build around him to make the most of him.
And he's 6 wounds free up save, so he's quite tanky.
Yeah. So a list example, a list with him is not as good as it used to be because gun haulers going up 10 points, and if you're taking 9 gun haulers, that's a lot of points in goods.
Very sad.
We worked out you can still fit 9 at exactly 2,000 points if you take a navigator, Bjorgen Fundrick, an Ordinator, 9 gun haulers, and then obviously his profiteers and double battle regiment it for 2 drops. But if you want to just take 8, then you can have like a nice good screen of Arcanauts, take an Endra Master as well.
Basically this is a list I run minus 10 Arcanauts.
The trouble with this list and the new battle tactic is that if you have your navigating, you give him the Voidstone Orb, then you don't actually have anything with an Nullstone Adornment because you can't give it to Fundrick because he's unique, and you can't give it to the Ordinator because he's an ally. So
you lose out on it. Yeah,
you lose out on it, but it's fine. You have enough. You can do bombing run with this list.
Yes. So.
Basically, from this to from the old list, we just got rid of the Endland Master.
Yeah, and the good
for
thing
your
about
version, my version
Profiteers for this is you can still do 3 units get in and out of the boat.
Yes, that's the main reason why I had him.
Yeah,
in that list. Yeah, it is fun. It works. It's a fun list to run. The more ships you have, the better the Ordinator is, obviously, because they all get +1 to hit. So you have all these shots, long range shots, and freezing 2s -2 D3 +1 damage. At 24 inches, they move 14 inches. So because of Master Disguise, once per game, another 6. So once per game, each gunner can go 20 inches, which makes the whole bombing run easy because you move forward and back, and you tag the unit in front of you, and you drop 9 times 4 bombs. So you'll do average 18 mortal wounds to something, which is decent.
Yeah, I mean that kills a monster.
And then you do all the shrapnel shots.
Yeah.
On carbines, so 9 times 6 shots, 2s and 2s if it's a grudge target. Yeah, 2s and 2s, 1 rend, 2 damage. It's a lot of shots. You can do a lot. My problem with this kind of list was once you start losing a gunner or 2 or 3, you lose a lot of output. And if you're left with 3 gun horrors next to the Ordinator, one's over there because you did a surround destroy, this one is on that objective, you're not killing anything anymore. And the bombs don't work versus flying units. That's very annoying. Yeah.
I've been running this for a while. It's been good. I found it better. It's a very skew list. So it does, it's either going to do well or it's going to do terribly. I found it more effective in teams environments than in just singles because you can, doesn't like a horde of dudes.
No, because they will outnumber those kind of models very quickly.
Yes, loses. They don't hold objectives very well. They lose to Soulblight. But
cool. So comment from the chat. If I'm going my mouse, you could run him with a spawn of Chotek for 3+ shot. So you get additional models.
Yeah, so spawn of Chotek we cannot play in KO.
Yes,
because it's a Seraphon unit.
Yeah, we can't ally Seraphon in, unfortunately.
And I'm not sure if he's in War Machine, a spawn of Chotek.
Maybe, don't know. Probably.
I think he's a artillery, like not a
chariot type thing. I don't know.
No, it's the fire salamander thing.
Yeah, it's the little lizard with the big sail.
Yeah, but it has like a thing on top, doesn't it?
It's artillery, but it's not a war machine. No.
Cool. Cool. Moving on then. I mean, well, actually, before we move on, what do you think this sort of list with 8 gun haulers is just not worth it?
So I tried a lot of iterations. 10 was great, but no screens. 9 was kind of the sweet spot because you could before fit in another 10 Arcanauts. 8, I found 8 is just not enough damage. And you have no screens in this bar Fundrick. It's Profiteers, so you screening with gun haulers, so you're gonna lose 2 or 3 when they get to you, and then it goes.
GW specifically trying to nerf the gun hauler list. They knew it was too powerful.
Yeah, I mean, if you go 8, you can
had the potential to just sweep the world.
Yeah, it was.
If you went 8, you could have a proper screen and you could have an Nullstone Adornment. So then you could do that battle tactic. And
8 is too little, I found.
But the thing is with 8 and a proper hero and a unit of Arcanauts is doing the get in and out of the boat. You can't really do because the Arcanauts and the
and you end up doing Legend of the Maelstrom. You're charging the hero inside a boat into something, into a screen.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
Another thing you could do is you could go for 7 and a frigate.
Yes, you could do like something like 6, 5 and 2 frigates or something.
Which in like 7
but
frigates
then
is
you
better
have
than 8.
less shots.
Yeah.
They more damage, but yeah. It's more gun haulers is actually the better.
Gun haulers are still the most efficient boat for shots to points.
7 gun haulers and 1 frigate is more shots than 8 gun haulers, though.
Yeah,
and you'd get a screen on the heroes.
Not at 24 inches. Yes, the frigate has more shots, but the carbines are only 12 inches.
Yeah, but it'll be the same amount of shots at further distance. Because if you're comparing 8 to 7 and a frigate. Because basically you're upgrading a gun hauler to a frigate is what you're doing. And having the same number of boats. It's not obviously less than if you had 9, but with 9 you don't get a proper screen, do you? So
yeah.
And you could then have prudency shoots or something on your boat. I don't know. But then you'd also get the get in and out of the boat battle tactic would be doable. I think we had to full screen and 2 heroes.
Frigate has some nice bombs.
Frigate is actually harder to get into the aura as well.
Can fly over
Frigate is hard to get in the aura and
takes up the space of like 2 gun haulers.
15 wounds on a free up save instead of 10 wounds.
10.
Yeah. Maybe, but still, this is not the future.
No, it's not the future. Okay, so let's move on. Next up, we have
the future.
Ionus.
This is the future.
Ionus Cryptborn.
You mean this guy?
Cryptborn.
Yeah.
He's Cryptborn. I am so bored of hearing these two talk about this guy forever.
This guy. He's the new baby. He's the new favorite.
He's 400 points.
You need a proper dwarf on him. So
yeah.
Oh, that's a good call. Finally.
Okay.
Not sure if you can see. Yeah.
I like the hood. The hood is nice.
Yeah, because he's like he's the huntsman, riding his dragon to shoot some whatever else.
I like that.
Settling some grudges. Yeah, a little hood, some changes to the cloak, so you can fit on a
finally got a use for that
and a beer.
For the model.
And a beer. Yeah, it's my second one. The other one is painted in I had it somewhere.
So he's 400 points, which is good because he didn't go up at all.
Yeah, so it still fits as an ally. 400 points on the nose.
Surprisingly shooty because he has 9 shots.
He's like 3 energy riggers.
Yeah.
And he wounds better. It's 9 shots, freeze and freeze, 2 brand, 1 damage.
Yeah.
And his shots set things on fire. And as per FAQ, forever. So, like, if he dies, those units are still on fire. They're gonna burn all game.
Yeah, unless they heal.
Yeah.
Then they can remove it.
Healing wounds. So rallying isn't healing wounds. It's returning models.
No. Yeah, but they can't rally in his aura anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah,
like,
why is he good? Why is he good? So he's shooty. He's okay fighty, I'd say. He's not a big brawler, but he can brawl. He's a priest, so he can give you a 6-up ward. He can auto chant 1 prayer, or he could do a smite against enemy priests on a 6, which means D3 mortal wounds instead of 1 at 48 inches. He has an own prayer, which is like a chain lightning D3 mortal wounds if they all nicely sitting next to each other. So that's the main reason I took him, which can hit heroes because it's a prayer, the same as a navigator. So that's one interaction I like a lot is navigator, D3 mortal wounds to a hero, him, another D3 mortal wounds to a hero.
Yeah.
The
5 wound hero's dead.
Yeah. His shooting is great against heroes because it's 2 rend shooting. 9 shots at 2 rend. 12 inches. He's fighty. He's a free up save, 16 wounds, so quite survivable. He can put a bless on himself automatically, so 6 up ward. He's a monster, so he counts as 5 an objective. He can roar. He can smash to rubble. All those fancy things. He can. He has a nice ability where start of combat phase he picks an enemy unit within 3 inches, and all of their attacks are reduced by 1, no matter how many profiles they have. And this is a great combo because he can sit next to your ship. Someone charges the ship. He says, "Oh well, all you -1 attack," because it doesn't need to be attacks that target him. That used to be the case. They changed that before Christmas for all the big dragons, Krohn I and Karasai as well. So now it's just -1 attack, which is a great combo. You know, a tag team frigate with some engine riggers and him. And he's a 14-inch move, so he's fast enough to keep up. Not like other dwarf heroes.
But he's fast. He's actually faster than the most NSU.
Yeah, he's faster. He flies. And what is a great combination with shooting armies is within his aura of 12 inches. So 14-inch move plus 12, 26 inches if you want to.
And a fairly big base as well.
The 100mm base, so it's like a Celestant Prime. It's not a big base.
Yeah, it's not massive, but it's not as small as like the normal dragons either. So like it's
no inspiring presence and no rally. So what you can do in theory, if you play against low bravery armies like Skaven or goblins or orcs, you start shooting a few models from each unit in his aura. They will all, if you don't have a triumph, they'll all start running, which is great. Yeah, bravery 9, so he can heal himself with recovery.
So his shooting attack adds that it sets units on fire, which means start of every hero phase they'll take mortal wounds. But I think
if you roll under the turn, which is
they can. But I think one of the big things and like an anti-death, like real anti-death tech is if that unit heals wounds, it takes it removes the fire token instead. But that's not may remove the fire token. It does when an ability heals it doesn't heal. It just removes the fire token, so it stops vampires.
Other than what's it called? Disease from Honourable. There you can choose to heal, take away disease token or heal. In this case, you need to remove. The problem with that, in theory, yes, it's great. You stop all the recursion. You don't, because usually these armies have multiple sources of recursion. So the first one will say, okay, I remove the token. The next one will say, I'll get units back.
Or, does it completely block the healing?
Battle tactics.
Or is it just the first wounds that would be healed? So if they heal D3, does it block all D3 or just save the
no, it instead of healing anything, it removes is how
I
understand.
I mean, it stops heroes healing, which is good because you're doing those mortal wounds to heroes with the navigating him, and then they can't try and use the heroic action to heal because
have to waste
it just removes the thing.
To get rid of this thing.
But things like Flesh Eater with their deed points, they will spend 1 deed point to remove the token.
Yeah.
Then they'll spend another deed point to put model back. Then you spend another point to put a model back. Then you spend another point to put a model. So it effectively, okay. The same with Arcan and OBR. One guy will remove the token, the next will start. Models back.
And
so
this fire effect,
in theory, it's nice, but
this fire effect happens every time he does a wound with his shooting, and he could split fire. You've got 9 shots. You can just spread those out. Just go 1 on that unit, that unit, that unit, that unit, that unit. And now,
so what you could do is shoot 2 or 3 heroes, navigator them, prayer them. If you're lucky, you turn 2 or 3. You roll a 1.
The reality is, if you've navigated them and you prayer them, then by the time you shoot them, they're probably dead anyway, and it doesn't matter whether they're stopping the healing. Maybe like 6 or 8 wound heroes. Maybe.
So I found he's a great overall for 400 points. He's a great package, no matter what army, and he synergizes well with a shooting army.
He something we haven't mentioned. We sort of mentioned these things in passing that he does. But there's quite a few armies with like grand strategies and things that KO can't stop, and he can. So things where like because he can destroy a terrain piece, or he can remove an invocation because.
I forgot about that.
The anti-fire slayer
he and the corn tech.
Yeah.
Have you ever had the Rafax moving back and forth through your boat? It's not fun. He can. So let me think. How's it? Because the timing here is different than Heroic Willpower. Because he can remove endless spells in your turn. Let me double check before we say something wrong and we spread misinformation and fake news. Ionus. What is it here? Cryptborn. So, because it's a bit different. Where is it? Archrelictor. At the start of the enemy hero phase, you can pick one endless spell or invocation within 12 of this unit and roll a dice. On a 2+, the endless spell is dispelled or the invocation is banished. So it makes it much easier because it's on a 2+ instead of trying to match or exceed the casting value. Invocations usually only priests can banish, but again, you need to roll higher than the thing. He just does it on 2+. And because it's the start of the enemy hero phase, usually with Heroic Willpower, you cannot remove endless spells in the enemy phase, only in your phase, in your turn. So this makes it. The Navigator can do it any time, I think, but like if you choose a Willpower, you cannot remove endless spells in the enemy turn, only in your turn. The endless spells, So he gives you an option to do it in the enemy turn. Which is also important. Yep.
Cool.
So great. I mean, removing invocations, no one can really do it if you don't bring a priest. And now you can do it on 2+. And I think he's the only double chant priest in Age of Sigmar.
Possibly. I mean, you're incentivized to do one and just do it automatically anyway, but
sometimes yes, but not always.
Often get a double chanter, but it requires a command trait, I think.
Okay, because the question came up today because I did 2 chants and I rolled a 1. So that's Divine Wrath. He gets 1 mortal wound. What I could not find if he can still continue to chant. Because it's with a miscast, you stop where you are.
Okay.
But with Divine Wrath, mischant,
it
doesn't say it. So
well, in theory, it doesn't happen then.
Yeah,
so
because in theory, there's no one that can do actually 2 prayers. So yeah.
Okay, so we've just figured out what the big change in 4th edition is going to be. Is that if you get to Divine Wrath, you can't do another prayer. That will be the one change.
Well, maybe there's an FAQ somewhere that says it, and I missed it.
So whole edition comment for one change.
We mentioned also we mentioned that he's good with shooty armies, but you know he is good with KO melee builds as well because he can roar.
Yes.
He
can roar.
Yeah,
he does monster things, but he has a 100mm base, so he can actually get to places. Yeah. He flies, so he can charge over a screen and get to the Loon Shrine or something.
Yeah.
Because some of these monsters are 130 or 100 base, like they just cannot fit.
Well, because like the other day at a tournament, someone wanted to do Surround and Destroy, and they're like, "Oh, I'm going to do it with this unit, and this Maw Crusher." I was like, do you know the base size on the Maw Crusher? 6.5 inches, so it can't get wholly within 6 inches of the terrain of the battlefield edge.
Yeah,
I mean they just picked a different unit, but it's some things have big bases, and the core rules. A lot of tournaments change it. But the core rules is terrain has to be 6 inches apart.
Yes.
So if you've got a 6.5 inch base, and sometimes you can't fit through those gaps. A lot of tournaments in the UK change it to 6.5 inches so that monsters can fit through.
Yeah. I've recently been to a tournament where they made it 8 inches.
Okay.
And now I understand why, because the TO plays a lot of Archeon. Now I get why he did it 8 inches.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and maybe it's just the number of corn. There we go. Cool. So let's look at a list. So Barracks Ilfin. Max, do you want to explain it since it's your list?
Yeah. So why Barrack Zilfin? Because 1-drop. Because we have frigates in there. Basically, we have a navigator with Voidstone Orb. We have an admiral with Stormcaller. So the package and the combo I said we want to do the mortal wounds to heroes occasionally, and with a reroll is just better. With Voidstone Orb, because I feel at the moment having the option to auto stop magical dominance against many armies is it deprives them of any battle tactic they can do turn one. Like your 1-drop, you can opt to go first. You get within 30 inches. You shoot off the one unit on the side that's set up for surround and destroy. What they're gonna do first round. Already you're 2 points ahead. Ionus Cryptborn, because all of the reasons you just listened to the last 10 minutes. Battle line, 10 Arcanauts, because we want some Arcanauts screens and battle line, 2 frigates, 6 Ending Riggers, and 10 Thunderers. This list used to be 1890 points, and I had the 10 Arcanauts were 20 Arcanauts with the amendment that they count as 2. Now, since they're only 10, because I had to cut 10 Arcanauts, theme of the show, I went for the 2d6 run, but you could still do the other one or the reroll ones to hit. It doesn't matter really. And then we have no reward without risks. So we have 1 threat is a frigate with the Ending Riggers. You can send it somewhere, do a 3d6 charge. You have a frigate with the 10 Thunderers. With the Admiral, they can get once per game an extra rend. Ideally, you would like a chemist, but yeah, hero slots and points. So it's a bit of a all-rounder list. You have the Ionus who can brawl. You can send him in with the Ending Riggers. You can send him in on his own. You can send him in forward and then just start shooting people. The Thunderers can keep their own. 10 Thunderers still do decent damage. I found today. I tested this today. And then you do the Navigator does navigator things, and you have kind of 3 threats, which I like in lists. You have Ionus, you have the frigate with the Ending Riggers, and you have the frigate with the Thunderers. So 3 fronts where you can approach. They're not gonna kill the big monster on their own, but still good. So yeah, 1970 points, 1-drop. We have the Omniscope and the Prudence Shoots, because we get 2 works. Yeah.
Cool.
And the 4+ rally, of course, because Thunderers.
Yeah.
It's just good. To the Riggers or the Thunderers, both?
The Prudence Shoots to the Thunderers, because the Riggers will usually be out of the boat or dead.
Yeah, and they can use the extra movement.
Yeah, and they get the extra move, so sometimes you would not need to do the 3d6 charge. You just move forward 14 inches and then charge. Yep.
Cool.
In theory.
Yeah, very good. Nice. Moving on then. I see there's a question from the chat, but we're due so because we haven't got any with fires left. We'll come back to that and we'll do some honourable mentions at the end for ones we haven't prepped. So the next hero, ally, is Gotrek. Probably not a surprise to a lot of people because I've seen lots of KO lists running him anyway. 480 points, but he has a special rule that lets you ally him in anyway to any order army. I mean, I don't know if I need to explain what Gotrek does, because everyone should know what he does, but in case you don't, the damage of all attacks, spells, and abilities that target him are reduced to 1, which is really good. So he gets hit with like a damage 6 attack or a spell that does d6 more wounds, and it only does 1, and then he gets a 3+ ward. So even though he only has a 4+ save, he's very tanky, and even though he only has 8 wounds, he is almost impossible to kill. He can be killed, but very difficult.
Look out for rules that cancel ward saves.
Yeah, I've killed them with 10 Arcanauts.
Yeah. But yeah, he's very good. He re-rolls all hit rolls and all wound rolls, and unmodified 6s to hit to D6 mortal wounds on top of the normal damage. So he can do a lot of damage. That's 6 attacks that he has. So on average, you get at least 1 D6 mortal wounds, even if you factor in the rerolls. I can never decide whether it's better just to fish for 6s or
depends
only
who you fight, because he only has 2 rend.
Yeah. So if you're getting something with a poor save, then you're probably better just to take your hits, and then if something's on a 2-up ignoring loads of rend, then just fish for 6s, I guess. And then he can also fight at the end of the combat phase if he's within 3 inches of something. So he gets to fight twice in one turn.
So across the 2 activation, he does something like 30 damage.
Yeah,
on average.
The problem with Gotrek is he's slow, very, very, very slow. Because he's 4 inches.
4-inch move.
He has a rule that means that you can't ever set him up or use any ability that would require him to be set up. So basically, he can't teleport. He can or deploy off the board. Well, can he deploy off the board? Possibly. I don't know. Probably not.
Not sure if Spring the Trap he can. Is that considered an ability?
No, but then he's got to come on 6 inches from the edge, which is not good for him. So,
I have one question regarding this. On the last show, where Luca talked about putting him into garrisons and out of garrisons to cover.
Oh yes, he can't do that. Yes, that's a good point.
And I wasn't sure because I'm not sure if it's considered an ability to get out of a garrison. He can go in, definitely.
Well, but
can he go
that's
back
a good
out?
question. I didn't think about that at the
and
time.
You kept on talking about it. Oh, I had this big terrain piece. I put him in the front, and he can jump out the back, and that gives me plus 10-inch move. And I thought to myself, like,
I never even thought about
sure
it.
He can do that. I think he needs to stay on
Max,
board,
we
but
need
I'm
to
not
see you
sure.
on the show.
Yeah, I know.
I need to find which ability it is because there's so many.
It's his own Avatar of Grimnir rule.
I can't be set up in reserve, so that answers Spring the Trap. You can't use spells or abilities on this model, which allow you to
spells or abilities.
Yeah,
exiting a garrison an ability. It's a move. Ask your TO.
I mean, maybe Luca did, and they ruled that that it wasn't. So cool.
It's a very niche interaction, but yeah.
But if with some garrisons, it's a big interaction for him.
Yes,
plus two rounds of movement.
Well, not only that, like Gotrek has his massive area of like you don't want to go near here, and then if you put him in a big terrain piece, that's an even bigger area.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Because some people will just try and keep 16 inches away from him, because then in theory, like even if he moves, he can't even get a 12-inch charge. But if you get him into the middle of the board, that's like a 35-inch circle of where they don't want to go, which is nearly like the whole board. It's very big. Cool. So there's a lot of lists you can use Gotrek in because he's very self-sufficient.
Yeah.
He doesn't need to go
self-sufficient, he's survivable, and he's very killy.
Yeah. The only thing is he's survivable, but if something's gonna kill him, quite often it's shooting.
Shooting or a lot of damage 1 attacks. Because just number of dice. Eventually he will roll those 1s and 2s.
Yeah.
And ward removals.
Yes.
So Seraphon have that.
Or a combination of the above.
Obstruct has it. KO has it.
Blaze of Darkness have it.
Khorne has it.
Like for instance, if KO are going to do it though, they can only do it in the shooting phase.
But we have a lot of shots in the shooting phase.
Yeah. So generally speaking, it is quite nice to have something near him that gives him look up, sir.
Yes.
So he's relatively self-sufficient, but that helps. And also, he's only 2 models on an objective. So having something else near him that counts as models on the objective is normally quite useful. Because if not, he walks onto an objective, and then other people walk onto an objective and keep far away from him. And
the thing is, the 4-inch move is people will throw roadblocks at him. So he will move. He will not be able to move. He'll just charge 3 inches, fight them.
Yeah.
Try to pile in another twice with 3 inches, and And then there's an next row. So some games, if your opponent knows what he's doing, he might end up killing 3 screens.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I've had games where he hasn't got into combat at all. So
yeah, a quarter of your army is. I found him very hard to navigate properly to get the best out of him.
It's very battle plan dependent as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because I've had games where he didn't get into combat at all, but I felt like he won me the game because there was like 3 objectives and he just sat on their middle objective, and then you know, that was it. Then I had 2 objectives and they couldn't go past, didn't want to go past him, so just sat for the rest of the game with me on 2 objectives, getting my battle tactics, which were easier to do than theirs. And cool. Let's look at a list.
From KO, it's very satisfying to have a combat thing that people actually respect. Like, we're not
or something that's survivable, because a lot of KO stuff isn't.
You put a boat in the middle, people go, charge the boat. You put Gotrek in the middle, and they're like, whoa.
Yeah, put Gotrek next to the boat.
Yeah. So, I mean, there's a lot of different lists you can use them in. This one's about 2,000 points, 1 drop. It's an Admiral with X Grundstock and a Navigator of Voidstone Orb. Gotrek, 2 units of Arcanauts, a unit of Thunderers that are battle line because of X Grundstock, unit of 6 Engine Riggers, and an Ironclad. It's basically just a big party boat. So you have 2 threats because you have Gotrek and an Ironclad flying around. But there's multiple other lists. You could take a list with 2 frigates.
Yeah.
And 2
people
units.
used to have 15 Thunders and an Ironclad. That doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
It's too expensive now. So you would need to get rid of some heroes. People use them in Zon with frigates and more combat. Overall.
Yeah. Tim says this list looks a lot like mine. I mean, you can put Gotrek into a lot of different lists. Really.
Gotrek does. Gotrek's stuff, he's self-sufficient. He's a good brawler, and he can kill, Gargans, big monsters, stuff like that.
Yeah. I think the only thing about Gotrek is he's 408 points, so that is, as an ally option, that is quite significant.
Quarter of your list,
now.
Yeah. Cool. Let's move on then to our last example that we prepped, which is the Celestant Prime. An old favourite that we haven't talked about a lot for a long time. He's 330 points. I assume he didn't go up. He was 330 points. No. I don't think he did. He does have a 4+ ward, but he's not anywhere near as tanky as Gotrek because he doesn't reduce damage down to 1.
No, he will die eventually.
Yes, he will die. The clever thing about Celestant Prime is that each turn he can change a dice to a roll of your choice for either a hit, wound, save, run, or charge roll.
90% of the time it will be the charge roll.
Yeah, because you can just go, I'm going to do a 12-inch charge. And that's really strong.
A guaranteed 24-inch threat range. He moves 12 flying. And then he can also charge 12. Which is super good. The good thing with him is you can set him up in reserve. So he can deep strike and then auto charge 12. The longer he stays in reserve, the more attacks he gets. People usually bring him down round 2, because then he has 5 attacks. So you have 4 rounds of 5 attacks is worth more than 3 rounds of 7 attacks. But he would get to 7, and then he would be dead because round 4 he needs to come before round 4. So he can kill. He has rend free on his hammer, so a bit better than Gotrek. Damage free. He will always no, but he will always want a command point for all out attack because those attacks are, I think they're 3s and 2s.
Yes, 3s and 2s, -3 rend, free damage.
You want 5 attacks, 2s and 2s, free rend, free damage. And he has a nice 24-inch. It's not a shooting attack, but it's an ability in the shooting phase.
Yes.
Where you pick a point and everyone within 6 inches suffers D3 mortal wounds. 3 inches. Okay.
3 inches. Now, it used to be 6 inches.
Oh, okay.
So, like
he Navigator.
And
yeah,
do
he can
2 or 3
shoot.
mortal wounds per hero.
Exactly, shoot a bit heroes. He's very fast and reliable in terms of threat range. 24 inch, boom, kill something. 24 inches, kill the next thing, shoot someone.
2 different ways you can play with him, because you can put him in reserve. I know other people in the past have said to me that they like to deploy him on the table and just use his shooting to combine with the navigator. And it's quite
absolutely. I mean, you can do both. You put it in reserve and then just in the movement phase bring him down. Turn 1.
But if you bring him down turn 1, you haven't really given yourself any extra shots. But I mean,
no, but it forces your opponent to screen his back.
Yeah, it's because you threat more of the board.
Yep.
Cool. The thing I found about playing with him previously in the past was he had a tendency to whiff.
Yes.
Because there's not many attacks, and if you just get unlucky with 1 or 2 rolls, it's all of a sudden he's not doing anything.
Absolutely.
And even bringing him down turn 2 with 5 attacks is actually not that many. You kind of ideally want him to have 7 attacks, but you kind of always need to have him like in turn 2, not turn 3. Like it always feels like, I need him now, and I can't wait another turn.
If you bring him round 3, often it's too late. Because
either you already
killed everyone you had,
or you're already losing,
or you're already losing, and he's not going to save you.
So that's the thing. One thing we didn't mention about Gotrek, and it applies to him as well, is that if you're not playing a 1-drop, there's this nice thing with either the Prime or a Gotrek where you can deploy them, and then just you don't really reveal anything. Gotrek, you just literally put them in the middle of the board and go, okay, that's Gotrek, and you don't know where anything is. Celestant Prime, you can put them in reserve and just go, okay, well, you don't know where any of my stuff is, and now you can put your 1-drop down, and I know where all your stuff is.
Yes, and with him, he's 8 wounds, so he does not take up the big slot in a battalion.
Yeah,
the big hero slot. Although we don't have those anymore.
No, we don't have a hero anyway. Cool. So, I mean, the real question with the Celestant Prime is, when is he better than just...
if you want 2 deep strike threats. So a frigate with a 3d6 charge and him.
Yeah. The other thing is if you're not really playing melee with Gnar or something. Because
if you're not playing Gnar, then Brock is still good in Zon also because he himself gives him the extra attack. And his shooting is phenomenal for his points. And he can give his command to 3 ships. So Brock is pretty good. Yeah, Brock is
and he's cheaper. Cheaper. We have an example which is Urbaz. 1980 points, 2 drops. So you just do the thing with the Prime where you deploy him. Oh no, you can't do the thing with the Prime because the reason you're 2 drops is because you have 2 frigates, unfortunately. So you have an Admiral and a Navigator. The Admiral's got the Nulstone icon, and the Navigator's got the Voidstone Orb. The Navigator has X Grand Stock to make Thunderers battle line. You have 1 unit of 10 Arcanauts, 2 units of 10 Thunderers, and 2 frigates. So you have 3 threats, the Thunderers in each frigate, and Prime that can go around and do some stuff. And this is something like you couldn't do this list with Ionus because he's too expensive.
Yes.
And you could run this in Zilfin if you wanted to be lower drops, or if you wanted to free up the command trait, because the frigates would be battle line, so you free up your command trait, or you go Gnar, but then you start wondering about whether it'd be better to have Brock.
So I actually wrote a list with Brock and the Prime.
And the Prime is interesting because you can't have 2 Brocks.
Brock, Prime, 2 frigates, 6 riggers in each, and some heroes. I don't recall. And the riggers in the Wizard Finders battalion. So ideally, if you're fighting a big wizard, you can get 4 attacks on Ender riggers, which is fun. And you have the deep strike, 1 boat. 1 boat moves 14 inches.
I guess you could put the Prime in that battalion. and then he gets an
no,
extra attack?
because he's unique.
Oh, you can't put uniques in the battalion. Okay.
No, you cannot put uniques. You cannot put mods with more than 4 wounds.
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, you can put like an Ender Master in there. So.
Yeah. Another way you could use a Prime would be in Barracks On, because you don't need commands in Barracks On in the combat phase, because everything's pretty much on 2s and 2s anyway, because you get +1 to hit, +1 to wound. I have used all-out attack once because I was -1 to hit on something, so I just I might as well negate that and still have +1 to hit. But yeah, it means you can use your command on the Prime, so you can always guarantee I won't need a command point somewhere else for all-out attack if you used him as on. Cool.
Absolutely,
yeah, cool.
So I think the thing is, you want something to fight people. You can put Gotrek in. If you don't have the points, you can think about Ionus. If you don't have the points, you can think about
you can think about Prime. And if you don't have the points of the Prime, you think about Brock.
Brock, I don't know if we have slides for them. There's some honorable mentions.
Before we go to the honorable mentions, I just wanted to mention that in that sort of hierarchy, though it does exist, the Prime and Gotrek do very different roles. Because
yes, absolutely.
Gotrek is a brawler that no one wants to go near, whereas Prime has to kind of pick his targets and go near stuff.
Yes, and Ionus is a tool, is a multi-tool. He does a lot of things.
He's like a Swiss Army knife. Whereas
he can do some fighting, he can do some hero threatening, he can do interactions with spells and invocations, he can do
it's like he's a Swiss Army knife. Gotrek is like a sledgehammer that's very slow. Like this, so it takes you so long to swing it that people move out of the way. And the Prime is like a ninja throwing star that gets going. But if you don't hit them in the eye, then they're not going to get hurt.
Hits a specific target, takes it out, probably dies after.
The thing with the Prime is he does not like Unleash Hell.
No,
because 4-up ward sometimes you don't roll 4-ups.
I guess you could run a Prime and a gun hauler, and the gun hauler could charge first so that it absorbs Unleash Hell, and then
give that gun hauler the Spar torpedo. Do D6 mortal wounds.
What the Prime wants to do is charge a unit on the end, so they can't. So they're not going to get many. If they're shooting, they're not going to get many Unleashed Hell attacks because they'd be within 6 inches. And if they're a melee unit, then they won't pile in much onto him.
Yeah, he likes to kill heroes, like mid wound heroes, like up to 8 wounds maybe, but not the big monsters, because he will die eventually, not kill them, and they will turn around and they'll just slap him dead. So he wants to, kind of kill heroes. Go there. Okay, I can guarantee a 24-inch. I will reach that hero, attack all the attacks into the hero. I'll go to the next one, and so on. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. So honorable mentions. First one, Elania and Ella4.
Elania and Ella4. They are now down to 170 points, I think.
Okay, so they're cheaper than a gun hauler.
Let me check.
That's
Elania and Ella4 are 190. Sorry, 190.
Oh, okay. More expensive.
8 wounds on a 3-up save again. 2 caster with a +1 to unbind and dispel, and cast. So gives you a good chance at magical dominance, like the Incantor. You can break, because it's 2 casts, you can have a 5-up ward on themselves and an endless spell, maybe. Pendulum.
Or Mystic Shield on a boat.
Yeah, they have okay fighting the later the game goes, because the damage is equal to the game round.
And
they have a bit weird of a teleport thing where you need to do it. You have to do it. They have a laser shot once per game where you can do some damage. But it's an interesting piece. Definitely 190 points, 2 caster with +1. It's good.
Yeah. And then there was a question in the chat about Fire Slayers. So, who would you put in from Fire Slayers instead of Ionus?
Mm.
And none of them are going to do the same job, are they? I mean, if you've got a really weird number of points KO list, which you could end up with like a 1930 point list or like a 1910 point list now, you could put in a cheeky Doomseeker.
Yeah, Doomseeker 70 points.
I need to bring this up from the chat as well.
I don't know.
Stefan Gurkenberger would rather die than ally in elves.
He's got the right.
But my Alani and Allofor, they're both dwarves, so they're good. I'm not sure. Yeah, Doomseeker, but it's if you want a cheap hero for a battalion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure what a cocksmith costs these days.
Oh, he used to be 70
80 or 90.
80,
because he can at least shoot. The Grimwrath, not anymore, because his oaths are now not on his war score, but on the Fire Slayer Allegiance ability. So that's meh.
Yeah, I think the thing is with Fire Slayers is even though they went down in points, you can't take like a Rune Smiter and then like a decent sized unit and like tunnel them onto an objective.
You can take Rune Smiter and Auric Hearthguard, the shooty ones, but they're just not as good. There's a nice combination because they can also reduce movement. Each 6 they score, it's -1 inch to the movement, and the fun thing is because theirs is a subtraction, and the Navigator is a
no, because theirs can't reduce movement below half
the characteristic.
Yes.
Yeah. But the
so if they run
Navigator can't.
Yeah.
So it's you could do an interaction there, but it's a lot of points for a mediocre shooting unit.
Yeah, and it's like unless your opponent's doing something weird, it's not going to do anything because their addition and subtraction happens after the Navigator. They can't take it below half. So it only really does is effectively if you half move something, then they want to run.
Good. Fire Slayers, maybe if you want to bring a priest for whatever reasons. They have okay priests that you could bring 120 or 130 points.
Yeah, the thing is they don't get all their prayers.
If we're looking at a replacement for Ionus, like a Fire Slayer Ionus, how is the priest on Magmadroth? Is he good? Any good? No.
Magmadroth's in a weird spot. They're cheaper now. Yes, they're a monster, but the Magmadroth attacks, they have a very few high quality attacks, but they hit on 4s, the maw, and so they're not going to do as much as you expect from a monster. The shooting is against hordes, so it doesn't know what's going to fight. What does it want to fight? Hordes, or does it want to fight single entities? Obviously, the Rune Smiter on top is not fighty at all, and his prayer only targets Fire Slayer units. So, I don't know. It's 300 something points. I'd rather.
If you're really hurting for a priest, take the Stormcast.
There's Stormcast priests. You could take the Light Relictor.
Yeah,
I think.
Where a Fire Slayer's priest would be good would be in Barret Fring because it's only Dwarden priests that can do that prayer.
Yeah, but then I'd
take
shame
it's only Dwarden priests. Otherwise,
I take
Ionus in that would be
A city's a Sigma 100-point Rune Lord.
If the Rune Smiter had come down 10 more points, then you could have taken him and like a reinforced unit of Volkite Berserkers and just plant them on an objective. And that's a lot of.
What I read again is the Regiment of Renown, the Rune Lord with his 10 Iron Drakes, 10 Iron Breakers, or Longbeards. I'm not sure which ones he has, or both. He's quite costly, 300 something points to package, but he can sit on an objective. They all get a 5-up ward, count as 2 on the objective, and have some Mindrakes for shooty shoot.
Yeah.
And the priest. And he also per FAQ gets to know the Freeing Prayer. Although he's named.
Some other honourable mentions: Aether Wings.
Yeah, absolutely.
70 points. Gyrocopter, slightly more points, but it has some shooting.
Yeah, you can take a unit of free now again.
Can you? Oh, that's interesting.
They go up to free now. 1 or 2 or 3. But free is quite expensive.
It's very thematic, I guess.
Yeah. They can drop bombs. They can shoot a bit. The steam gun is not as good as it used to be.
Yeah, the interesting thing about them dropping bombs is they won't count for our battle tactic, but they could make our battle tactic easier, because if they drop bombs before you drop your bombs with your other ships, then they can hit it beforehand.
Yeah, they could. I think that's a very fringe case, but yes. They are fast. So surround and destroy.
Yeah.
But also Aether Wings can do that.
But the Aether Wings with a shooting attack, effectively, and less models.
Yeah, less wounds. 4 wounds, I think they have.
Even then they have a save, so it's
Yeah.
And more thematic.
Not sure about the other stuff, because Iron Drakes are just worse than Thunderers. Hammerers are very killy, but you need to deliver them. They're a bit of a glass cannon these days. Iron Breakers are better in cities because you can go to a 4 ward with a order. Yeah.
Something else you could do is you could
I have something.
You could play into the Stormcast heroes that do mortal wounds onto heroes and stuff. Whether you pick points, and there's some cheap heroes you take 2 or 3, and you've got a navigator as well. And then you're just doing, you just do some. Yeah, well, there's also the trumpet guy as well. He picks a terrain piece, and you say everything within range of the terrain piece, and
there.
He's in the shooting phase.
So the Vexillora with the meteoric standard, but it's once per game. The Knight Judicator brings 2 dogs with him, extra unit, and he can do once per game. He can do the Gaze of Sigmar mortal wounds, and then the rest. His shooting is okay. Not sure how much he is these days. 180, 190. So he's quite expensive for a hero. But you know what came down in points? The Quester Soulsworn. They are is a Warcry warband, I think, for Stormcast. There is 6 dudes, I think, 6 of them. 3 wounds each, 3 up save. Once per game, they can teleport. And if they are contesting an objective outside the territory, I think they each count as free. And they have pretty good attacks. I think each has 3 attacks, 2 damage or something. So there's something for 210 points, I think now. The Sworn. It's 6 guys, 210 points, 3 wounds each, 3 up save. And each of them has 3 attacks, Ren 1, 2 damage. So basically, with 2-inch reach, so you get 6, you get 18 carbine shots. Damage 2. Plus another one, so 19 from champion. And for the purpose of contesting objectives wholly outside your territory, each model in this unit counts as 3 models. So they would count as 18 models if you teleport them on objectives. It's something you can throw turn 1 on objective or in the middle of the board in front of your opponent, and it will, he will need to put something into them to get rid of them.
Yeah, because there's actually a decent number of wounds there. So
it's a lot of wounds. It's a good saves. Once per game, they can teleport. in the hero phase, and 210 points for those wounds are not bad.
Yeah. The one thing that's a little bit of a shame, but probably a good thing for the health of the game, is that you can't give allies a Nulstone icon, because then you could just pick a Stormcast teleporty hero. It's like, well, okay, well, I have him, and he can get me a battle tactic, which I'm sure some Stormcast players will be doing.
The Vexor only teleports Stormcast units, right? The banner
with the Storm Pendant, yes. Only Stormcast.
Only Stormcast. Dang. So you can't give it to like an Admiral and then just go...
No. But you can just put him in a boat and get him off the boat.
Yeah,
it does the same thing.
Or just take if you don't want to move a boat all that far, you could take like a dirigible suit and you can just move on his own.
Move him 18 inches.
How do you feel about the dirigible suit now that everything else is more expensive?
With the dirigible suit, I think the best value is if you take Enriquez, because he makes the healing better. And then Enriquez went up in points, and he's already a very good hero. So,
I mean,
I always struggle to find a place for him.
Base End of the Master is still 90 points. So
yeah. So the thing is, you quite often just take a base End of the Master just to make
battle line.
To make battle line, and the fact that now either of them could do it, you take the cheaper one.
Yeah,
you take the 90 points guy. He's 6 wounds and a 3 up save, so he's a good hero to be your general also. You can, he
heals about 3 wounds as well. So whereas the dirigible suit still does the same. He doesn't even heal the boat.
He since the new book. The new book. He's
because he lost his stare and he gained a wound.
Yeah, he lost his weapon and he got some armor.
Nice.
But he's the only dude in the book that does not have a pistol.
Yeah,
it's a bit of shit.
Everyone else shoots.
And fighting wise, I mean the balloon guy, 3 attacks, 3s and 2s, probably better, but I struggle with the balloon hero. I struggle with him. Then I'd rather take Brock for an extra 50 points.
Not many extra points you can take Brock, and then he buffs.
More he takes Brock.
He does more attacks himself. He's got good shooting, and
much better shooting.
Buffs your melee output from the Riggers as well. So
it's a shame the balloon engine dude is not as
that's about
interesting at the moment. Maybe
he probably does need to come down in points or get something slightly different. I don't know.
I'm not sure. Everything is so expensive. I'd like to have him, so you have better healing, but then you'd like this, and you'd like a chemist, and you like that.
Yeah,
and you're at free. You're playing with 3,000.
A lot of things,
But overall,
with the points changes, we don't have the space to now include that one. Like
even less so.
It has to be all killer, no filler, basically.
Because I used to fit a dirigible suit in my list, and then the last time we got points changes, he got downgraded to a normal engine master, and now I'm looking at now with the more recent changes, I'll just take the engine master out. So
there's always some fat you can trim. All right.
Yeah.
I think that's all we had.
Covered everything.
Overall, how are we feeling for the next 3-4 months till AOS 4?
We'll survive till 4.
It's not the end of the world, so
no, probably not.
Most lists are still playable. I mean, there might be 1 or 2 lists people were playing where they were so tight for points they had cut all the fat already that their list becomes impossible. I'm thinking like Jeremy's list from that, because that didn't even have any Arcanauts to cut. It had no screens whatsoever. So
what was it? 2 times 10 Thunderers. Well, you just dropped the Enriquez from the boat, basically from the gunholder.
Yeah, and then then you start to question whether you even need the gun hauler because he wasn't using all the skies. So
I think the boats, the balloon lists, like you just take instead of all these 6-man units, 1 unit will be free. So you cut those 130, 140 points.
Yeah, unless you've got a spare screen or hero that you can cut.
Yeah.
And ironically, in Barrack Zon lists, you actually will end up using, even though they went up in points, you'll possibly use more Sky Wardens because if you drop your Engine Master, then you need the Sky Wardens, but it's still you save more points by losing the Engine Master than you do by switching some units to.
You
Sky
lose
Wardens.
on heals, but same output.
Actually, true.
You get better output in theory.
This update came out like as a response to LVO, basically, and like. What was Jeremy using? Frigates, Thunderers, Engine Riggers, Gunhauler. What went up?
Sky Wardens.
Sky Wardens.
Sky Wardens.
Why did Sky Wardens go up? I don't know. Someone must have been using them somewhere.
I mean, people were running frigates with Sky Wardens on very effectively.
Yeah, I mean, I was using.
Gotrek.
Yeah, I was using Sky Wardens, but only because I could afford them.
I mean, they're cool. I like their retreat mechanic. It's pretty good. Like, if you do not manage to kill everything, then you just say, okay, D3 mortal wounds, I'm out of here. Yeah. So it takes you out of combat. You're free to rally. Yeah. It's a cool mechanic.
I blame Jeremy for all of this. This is all Jeremy's fault.
I blame you for the gunhauler.
Yeah, you're the reason the gunhauler got out.
Yeah. And the other stuff, I have no idea because Nathan's list still works.
I mean,
it's a pretty good list. The Nathan's list has been played at many team events before.
If they were looking at Nathan's list, you would have thought Arcanauts would have gone up because he was taking 40 Arcanauts, and then
Thunderers. I don't know. It's like what do you expect us to use? We only have balloons and Thunderers, so. People were using them. Oh, they all go up. Fantastic.
So we'll still use them. We'll just have to cut.
So we'll just use more allies. Okay. So I think we're rambling.
Yes, we are rambling. So thank you everyone for watching.
Yep.
Let us know what you think of the points changes and what you're going to change on your list in the comments.
Let us know what you want to see in the future from us.
Yeah, we are doing shows more regularly again now. So if you've got any suggestions for shows, let us know.
Aethercast is back.
Yes, we're back. And hit like if you like the show, subscribe so you don't miss the shows in future. Hit that little notification bell thingy majiggy. And thank you very much for watching. And thank you, Max and Krohn, for
send chocolates.
Yes, send chocolates. And don't wait for Valentine's Day because that's a long time away.
Easter is around the corner.
Yes, Easter eggs. Cool. But thank you everyone, and we'll see you next time, Skyfarers. Goodbye.
Bye bye.